Well, hello, everyone. Today is July the 12th. My name is Mighty Stream. I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is our Hood Recovery Services. I wanted to get in here today and do your Just for Today in a meditation, although it's already in the afternoon. Forgive me, but I'm still very grateful and happy to be in here to do it with you. So let's go ahead and look at the Just for Today. Get the right screen up here. Hold on, bear with me. There we go. Okay, so the title of it is called Patience, page 202. We were trapped by our need for the instant gratification that drugs gave us. Basic text, page 25. I want what I want, and I want it now. That's about as patient as most of us ever got in our active addiction. The obsession and compulsion of our disease gave us a one-track way of thinking. When we wanted something, that's all we thought about. And the drugs we took taught us that instant gratification was never more than a dose away. It's no wonder that most of us came to Narcotics Anonymous with next to no patience. The problem is we can't always get what we want whenever we want it. Some of our wishes are pure fantasy. If we think about it, we'll realize we have no reason to believe those wishes will be fulfilled in our lifetime. We probably can't even fulfill all our realistic desires. We certainly can't fulfill them all at once. In order to acquire or achieve some things, we will have to sacrifice others. In our addiction, we sought instant gratification, squandering our resources. In recovery, we must learn to prioritize, sometimes denying the gratification of some desires in order to fulfill more important long-term goals. To do so requires patience. To find that patience, we practice our program of recovery, seeking the kind of full-bodied spiritual awakening that will allow us to live and enjoy life on life's terms. Just for today, higher power, help me discover what's most important in my life. Help me learn patience so that I can devote my resources to the important things. Yeah, I agree with that. I believe that every using addict has instant gratification as the goal, meaning that there's something that you're dealing with, something that you're passing through, that you have absolutely no acceptance of. You don't have any self-acceptance. You don't have acceptance in any general terms in regards to your situation. And the only way that you know that you can actually change it, the only way that you can actually change it would be to use a substance, a mind, mood, or altering substance to change your perception of that reality. And that in and of itself is gratification given to you instantly. I don't know too many drugs that take a whole lot of time to have their effects, right? Some people, if they're using liquid drugs and drinking alcohol, they will choose between what types, whiskey, beer, wine, that sort of thing, to determine what type of feel that they want. But ultimately, as soon as any of those drugs, whatever they are, hit your system, it begins to alter the way that you see things. It changes your judgment. So this is instant gratification, and we learned that we can change our circumstance. We can change our perception of it. We can change how tolerable a situation actually is by getting high. And so what we knew about patience is absolutely true. We knew very little about patience, but the reality is that what we want when we want it in a deeper level, right? In terms of maybe it's the job that you want, the education you want, the house that you want, the relationship you want with your children, the relationship you want with your parents, right? How you're seen in the community, your education level. These are all things that take time to attain them. And unfortunately, the things that are really of value, I mean, really, the things in your sober, right, clean mind that are of value aren't easily attained overnight. They take consistency and they take sacrifice. And the problem is that a lot of us have been so used to the instant gratification of getting high that we come into this thinking it shouldn't take that long to be able to do this. Well, I don't know. It took your whole lifetime to wreck it. It might take you another half of a lifetime to build it back up again. But you know what expedites that? The work of the 12 steps, the work of the program. And if you're a person willing to do that work, then you're probably going to see some changes. I won't say probably, you will see some changes take place and start to push you forward into the position that you truly want to be. You heard that old saying, if anything worth having is worth working for. This just for today in a meditation is suggesting that we can't have all of those things at once, that you can't attain all of those things at one time, and that you have to sort of, in an essence, you have to sort of stagger these desirables, these things that you want to attain, stagger them so that you're always productive and always moving forward. But there are some dreams and some desires and wants that may not happen in your lifetime. For the most part, they can, but you have to be willing to do the work and make the sacrifices in order to attain them. I would absolutely, absolutely love to have a beautiful open space, open air type of home off of the ocean. I would love that. There's nothing more that I enjoy than sitting under some shade, because I'm allergic to the sun, under some shade and listening and feeling that air that comes from the ocean. I love that. And I would do almost anything to be able to have that. Will I ever attain that? I can't tell you for sure. But I know that some of the things that I do on a day-to-day basis, they put me in a better position to be able to determine where I live or don't live. Because that will take some serious money or a serious donor, right? Someone that just happens to have a home that they're not using on the ocean and allows me to use it. So I am very cognizant that some things, they kind of get pushed in the background so that you can do some of these more important things. You know what? Along that note, let me share with you one of the more important things that is taking precedence over having that home on the ocean. Let me share that with you. See, because I have two little boys that I'm raising, and they're really not little anymore. They're 9 and 11, almost 10 and 11. And they're as tall as I am. And for years now, if we wanted to go swimming, we go to a lake that we enjoy. There's a couple of lakes that we enjoy, or they would stay the night with some of their friends who have beautiful pools in their backyards. And at some point in time, when I realized that the goal of sending the younger one, who had been recommended for a very prestigious leadership program that would last a full week, when I realized that the level of money that was going to be required in order to allow him to partake of that, right? I became somewhat saddened that my circumstances would not allow that right now. And he and I began to have a conversation. And I said, well, what are some things that, you would maybe not rather have, but would make the summer feel all right if you, he said, to tell you the truth, I don't think we should, if they're going to nominate me for something, it seems like they would also pay for it. It just sounds like they want our money. I would rather have a pool. This is what the little child told me. I would rather have a pool. And I got to thinking about how many times we have had to make maybe sacrifices in a sense that would, put them in a position where they might have to stay the night with a friend to be able to go swimming, but they like the friend, but they like the pool more. I don't like those kind of negotiations. I don't like that. I don't believe that I have to be in the presence of someone that is giving me a hard time just so that I can enjoy anything. And that's not a principle that I want them to be taught. So I made up in my mind, I'm going to bring a little piece of that ocean, a little piece of our swimming engagements that are outside of our home to our backyard. And you know what? Today, after a lot of yard work, I am trying to tell you a lot of yard work, they were finally able to take a swim in their own pool. I don't know if you're hearing what I'm saying. I already know I may not ever get that home on the ocean. Now I can probably rent some Airbnbs, but to own something that I can actually call my own and it's off of the ocean, like I can walk out my back door or front door and be at the ocean side. That's one of my dreams. But for today, I am willing to accept patience in that area, but I am also willing to accept with some hard work, I was able to bring some fun and enjoyment to my boys. And they will be able to swim in the backyard anytime they desire, right? And so I'm telling you that sometimes we do need to understand that we're going to make some sacrifices. But that doesn't mean, and I want to be clear about this, because this reading said that we can't have all of those things at one time, and some of those things will never happen in our lifetime. And I come to say that if you're willing to put in the work to get what you say that you truly want, it could very possibly happen in your lifetime. It could possibly happen if you're willing to have the faith and the willingness to do the work to get it. My name is Mighty Stream, and I've enjoyed your company, and I hope that you will tune in and we can talk to you again tomorrow.